Good morning. It's good to have you join us today. On behalf of the board, management, and staff of Delta Broadcasting Service, I officially welcome you to Friday's edition of the Morning Ride. My name is Ogaga Ekama, and there's been a little tweak today because we love spicing up our programming and giving you the best of programming. I've got a new co-anchor on the Friday's edition of the Morning Ride. Yes, you've seen her once or twice thereabout, but now it is official. I'm being joined by Perpetual Iboba. Welcome, Pepe.
Thank you. Good morning, Ogaga. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good.
You see, I'm a gentleman as welcoming you. You're just rolling your eyes for me. Eh?
Don't do that.
How's your week been?
My week has been stressful, tiring, but thank God it's Friday.
Thank God it's Friday. So, how has the month of January been for you thus far? It is the 17th day of the month, 17 days into the new year 2025. And what do you think about January? Has it been fast? Because normally, you know how it is, people tend to say the month of January is, some say 2 months in itself, some say 4 months. But do you think the month has been fast enough or moderate or is slow as usual?
I feel it's been going at a very moderate pace. You know, compared to other Januaries that we felt like, they just hit like 2 months in one. This one has been going moderately. Today is 17th. Before you know it, the month is about coming to an end. So it's been moving at a moderate pace, if you ask me. It's been going okay. The month has been good. I don't think, in as much as there's been an increase in price of goods and services and commodities, I don't think it's been really that, choking like other Januaries where people come out to really lament. I'm not saying people are not lamenting. People are lamenting. Things are hard, but I think that our
Your reality.
our cloak of adaptability is getting thicker. So that's what I think is going on right now. So we are moving.
Okay, just to put this out there, yesterday, I think the governors, because I'll say the governors, because earlier the northern governors, they kicked against the tax reform bill, but now the governors, they've come out to okay the tax reform bill, and they are saying they are behind President Tinubu and the National Assembly. What do you have to say about that?
If they are behind President Tinubu and the National Assembly, I think they've gone back to the drawing board to do a rethink on the importance of the bill and how it will not just benefit the people but their administration. To me, I feel it's a welcome development, if you ask me. It's cool.
Okay, just to put a little perspective on this tax reform bill, initially the bill, among other provisions, was seeking to raise the value-added tax VAT from 7.5% to 10% by 2025 this year, because it started from last year when the Northern Governors Forum were kicking against it. However, in as much as now the general, that's the Nigeria Governors Forum, because initially it was just the Northern Governors Forum that were against it, they've come out and they have said that they are proposing that the VAT sharing formula should be equitable, and they are asking that it should remain as it used to be. There should be no increase in the value-added tax, nor should there be a reduction in corporate income tax, which were some of the things that were meant to be altered. Okay, because of time, we've got an area of interesting programming coming your way today. We've got the biggest trend on X. Our X girl is back. You'll see her in a few minutes time. We've got Safety Corner, and we also have an interview segment for you. But right about now, we'll kick off with our Safety Corner, which is on hypertension and heart attack. And we've got Dr. Chibueze and Trainer Sunday Moses from the Nigeria Red Cross Society Delta State branch. We'll be with you after this interview.
to actually talk about our health. And on our interview segment today, we have Dr. Okonkwo Pascal. He is a volunteer of the Nigerian Red Cross Society Delta State Branch, and trainer Sunday Moses, a trainer of the Nigerian Red Cross Society NRCS Delta State Branch. They're here with us this morning to talk about hypertension and heart attack. Good morning, sir, and welcome to Morning Ride.
Good morning.
Good morning, trainer Moses.
Good morning.
Welcome to Morning Ride.
Thank you.
Good morning, you're both welcome. It's good to have you.
Thank
Seems
you.
like you guys have planned out. There's a little bit of purple
Oh,
in
that's
your
true.
outfits.
That's true. I just realized
And
that.
look, you're too much. That's good.
All right, welcome. So quickly, let's just delve into the topic for today: hypertension and heart attack. I'll ask you, Dr. Pascal, is there a link between hypertension and heart attack? Can a person who's not suffering from hypertension have heart attacks?
A person not suffering from hypertension, yes, can have heart attack because hypertension, although heart attack is a complication of hypertension,
Okay.
you understand, it's one of the major complications of hypertension. But a person who doesn't have hypertension can have a heart attack because from the definition, you see that heart attack is when the blood flow to the heart is reduced or blocked.
Okay.
It can be blood from, let's say, fat accumulation within the heart and the arteries and all that. So that is heart attack. So yes, a person without hypertension can
is
eventually
heart attack. Okay, you've explained what a heart attack is. Can you explain what hypertension is?
Okay, thank you. Now hypertension is when the flow of blood through the arteries in the body is increased. When there's an increased pressure of the flow of blood through the body. Now so it's like an engine that is not built to carry a very big capacity of this thing. So you are forcing this high pressure blood through the heart, and then it reduces the heart efficiency to carry the blood. So that's hypertension.
Okay.
So you can also say hypertension is when the blood pressure is 140 90 millimeter mercury. So that is the definite definition for hypertension.
All right, thank you.
Okay, let me pick it up from there. So hypertension is high blood pressure and all of that.
Yes.
So, and you also talked about 140, 90 millimeter mercury.
Yes.
So, what is the normal range for blood pressure for us to know that, okay, if it goes beyond this range, then it's hyper. If it goes below, it's hypo.
Okay. So the normal blood range for every normal individual is 120 stroke 180 to 120 to 80 millimeter mercury. That's the normal blood pressure. Now there are various classifications for increased blood pressure. So according to the American College of Cardiology, there is pre-hypertension, there is severe hypertension, and there is so the pre-hypertension is from 130 to 140, 130 to 139. Then for severe hypertension, 140, according to the American College of Cardiology. Now there are various classifications. There is the GN8. There are different classifications, but this is the one where we usually use in Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay, is hypertension hereditary? If a person's father or mother was hypertensive, is it hereditary? Can the children as well, grow up to be hypertensive?
Yes. Now hypertension, there are different causes of hypertension.
Okay.
Now we have the essential causes and we have the secondary causes. Now the essential causes are 90% of this cause of this, and most of it is hereditary and based on your environment. So 90% of the cases of hypertension is genetics.
Okay, what other risk factors can cause hypertension and heart attack? Let's talk about the risk factors that surround it.
Okay, there are various risk factors. Alcoholism, chronic alcoholism is one of the risk factors.
So are you speaking for both now, hypertension and heart
I will
attack?
speak. There are some that are for both.
Okay,
and
so
there are
just let us know, be specific on that.
Okay, for hypertension, we can have there's obesity. Someone that is grossly obese. There's hypertension. There's thyroid problems, kidney problems, family genetics, like I said earlier.
Okay.
Then for heart attack, there's smoking, chronic alcoholism. Yeah,
Then heart attack
yeah, chronic alcoholism.
for heart attack.
Yes,
Okay.
smoking, poor health, like you don't exercise, patients that don't exercise, that don't take good care of their health, that have high blood pressure as well. Hypertension is also a risk factor for heart attack.
Okay. Trainer Sunday Moses, do you know ways a person can prevent hypertension in early life? Like if you know that Dr. Pascal has actually said that hypertension can be genetic. So if I know that my parents suffer from hypertension, what are some things that I can do early in life to prevent growing up to be
Okay.
hypertensive as well?
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much. Listen, like Doc have said, lifestyle.
Lifestyle.
That's lifestyle. Some persons they just walk from AC to AC. They eat anything at random.
Soft life. You want us to live soft life?
Computer life. Just sit down and get me this, get me that, get me the other one, and nobody works out. Like he said, obesity. Just watch your weight. These days, people don't watch their weight. It's when they feel that okay, I need to get a particular shape and they want to go to gym. No, make it a lifestyle. On a day, if you don't tax yourself to trim up some certain things or work out, you discover that you have some accumulated fat or ailment. They'll just come naturally. So those things are factors that can actually throw you or put you on the edge of hypertension or heart attack.
Okay, Dr. Pascal, do you want to add to that? What are some things that a person can do to prevent hypertension early in life?
And basically someone that has a family predisposition. Your father was hypertensive, your grandfather was hypertensive, so it runs in the family, your mother and all that. So basically that person is already a high risk patient. So the person, just like I said, you have to change your lifestyle. You have to lifestyle modification basically. You have to exercise. You have to eat healthy. You have to avoid foods, various type of food that are high in salt. You understand?
Okay.
Because also being black is a risk factor as well.
Being
Yes.
being black, like
Yes,
being an
because-
African.
Yes, being black, being an African. Yes, because
So are you trying to say Africans suffer from hypertension more than other people in other parts of the world?
yes, because of our salt intake.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So these are all risk factors, and then you as a person knowing that okay, your family members, there's a genetic predisposition to it. You have to also change your lifestyle, exercise, eat well, just like you have said, and all that.
Okay.
And they also check your blood pressure regularly. Hypertension is known as the silent killer. Yeah, it's very silent. You don't see it coming. It just happens.
Okay.
You understand? You never see it coming. So the high blood pressure, if you don't check regularly, if you don't visit the clinic regularly and check your blood pressure. Nowadays there are different kits now you can check at home before you come to the clinic. So it's advised that you always check because you never see it coming. It doesn't present clinically before you come. Although there are some symptoms that it may show, but those are not specific symptoms.
At what age can one start checking regularly, or do I just start like that? Like I'm not sick, I don't have any symptom or anything. I just go and get the kit and start checking everything.
Well, if you notice, whenever you go to the hospital to see a doctor for any case entirely, they always check your blood pressure and they always
Even
report you.
children.
Yes, they always check your blood pressure.
Okay.
So previously we would say that it used to be an old people's because yes, old people are predisposed to people of elderly age are predisposed, but these days we see it now in younger generation.
Okay.
Okay, so are there specific symptoms that one can spot and say, okay, this person is probably hypertensive or a heart attack is imminent? Are there medical symptoms that present themselves?
Okay, for heart attack, there are specific symptoms that you would see, but for hypertension, they are not specific. Hypertension, you see symptoms like shortness of breath, but it's not every time you see. You can see nosebleed, but the patient usually has headache. But you can see that medically these symptoms don't reveal anything specifically, because you could have malaria and you show these symptoms. You could have any other ailment and you show these symptoms. However, heart attack though has some specific symptoms that you would notice. The person will describe that pain as one of the worst pain of their life. It's usually left-sided and it's sudden. It's sudden, like a crushing feeling at that side. It's usually lasting for about 20 seconds. You understand? They could be nausea, vomiting, lightheadedness, and all that.
So it's on a lighter note. It seems like this symptom of heart attack is almost similar with heartbreak.
Okay, so I'm going to ask: is hypertension a disease, and can it be cured? If a person, is hypertensive, can it be cured? And is it a disease? Really, is it something we should be scared of?
Due to modern medicine, hypertension is not something you should be scared of. It's not curable.
It's not curable.
Yes, it's not curable. If a patient becomes hypertensive, the patient is put on antihypertensives.
Okay.
So the person has to always be judicious with his medication and all of that.
So in layman's terms, you're saying cannot be treated completely, but it can be managed.
It can be managed, yes.
It can be managed, and when it's managed, it will not have it will not be detrimental.
Yes, it will not. The person can keep on going on with his life as normal.
Okay. Trainer Sunday Moses, is it advisable for, you talked about watching your weights, monitoring your weights is one of the ways you can prevent hypertension. So what if the person is already hypertensive, like the person is already down with hypertension? Dr. Pascal said it's not curable. Is it advisable for such a person to exercise?
Yes, you exercise, not tedious exercise. You don't do tedious exercise so that you don't have your what's it called? Your breaths change, so you don't do a tedious one. But like he said, you need to be judicious with your drug. You need to be under medical surveillance. That is key. You need to be under medical surveillance, and whatever you do, you should actually watch yourself. Stop when you are tired. Always stop when you are tired on anything, and catch your breath, and you can push on again.
Okay, so what are some kind of light exercises that someone who has hypertension can do? The kind of exercise they can do to just help them maintain a healthy lifestyle?
Like you can walk around your house.
Okay.
Yes, you can do your chores yourself. Don't always rely on somebody to do it for you. Then you can walk around your house, and I think basically that's it. Don't engage in any form of athletic move and start running meters and stuff like that. So it will just take you back.
Okay, so what first aid treatment can be given to somebody that is under heart attack? Like it just hit now. What first aid treatment for persons around?
Okay, it's actually called an age, not a treatment.
Okay.
So the help you can actually give to somebody who has heart attack, like he said, the pain is sharp, it's excruciating. So the person will tend to go down. Please don't bring the person down. Allow the person to sit, semi-sitting position like they were sitting now, but down on the floor, and have his leg and his hand together. So with time, the pain will just go. But one thing you should also do is that the airway must be open. Anytime the airway is blocked, you expose the person to a greater danger.
So
What do you mean airway?
How does a layman like me know if the airway is open or not?
Okay, anytime the head is down, the airway is blocked. Partially.
But you said we shouldn't bring the person.
When you bring the head up, take the person down.
Okay.
The neck, this region, the head must go up so that this way will be clear. So that the tongue, if the tongue is blocking the airway, the tongue will give way. So the person can naturally take in air into the system.
So do you, how about you want to still talk about heart attack?
Yes, I want to still talk about heart attack.
Okay.
Dr. Pascal, when...
Okay, yeah, I'm moving to, sorry, let me just finish. So for hypertension, what's the aid that can be given to someone that, for example, the person just realized, check their blood pressure and they realize that it's high?
And it's high. One thing you should do for anybody is to calm the person down. Now, what pre-hospital care does is to buy more life for you. So when you are, let me take for instance now, you are tense, and I just calm you down, your system will come down. So when I put the person, remember the doctor will say, sit down and rest. Sometimes they will say, it's because you've been walking or under the sun, that's why it's high. So you need to sit down and rest. There are some things you start talking to the person, it's called PSS, psychological support. So when you start talking to somebody, telling the person some funny things, and you see the person start getting relaxed, and at that time, blood pressure can start coming down.
Dr. Pascal, I want you to just add to what Sunday Moses have said. If I know someone who's suffering from heart attack right now, aside from putting the person down, opening up the airflow, what else can I do? What first aid can I offer to that person to make the person feel better?
Okay, like he has said, you can also lie the person down. You have to prevent, because one of the complications of a heart attack is cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrest is when the heart stops pumping blood. You understand? So you have to prevent further complications in that patient.
How do you do that?
You have to prevent further complications. You can administer the patient aspirin 300 milligram.
Aspirin, okay.
Yes, 200 milligram. But this is strictly for the first aiders. It's not anybody that will just.
So I should not go ahead and give
you
that to
cannot.
anybody.
When you as a person notice someone is having a heart attack, like I said, the symptoms very painful, left-sided and all that. When you notice it, the first thing you do, you have to call for help.
Call for help.
You have to call for help, and then you tilt the person, just like he said, you tilt the person's head so that the person can have direct oxygen flowing through the person's body. And then after you call for help, you just watchful waiting basically for a normal person, but for a first aider, they have to.
We typical Nigerians, when situations happen like this, we like, run helter skelter, bring water. Can we pour water?
I was about to say, give the person water.
But sometimes they will bet you like,
Is it bad to give the person water?
So we're
Almost
talking about
water.
hypertension now. Don't we apply water, let's say on the person's head or something, will it help in calming the blood pressure, dropping the blood pressure?
No, I don't know, Doc. But sometimes when you apply water on somebody, you introduce unknown temperature on the person's body, and you also cause more complication on the person. The temperature, the person is not aware of the temperature that is coming, right? The person is not aware, so you just apply unknown temperature, and it causes. Imagine where you're sitting now, just sprinkle water on your body, you just forget, and that will cause a dilation on you, and that's the problem. And also, sorry, when somebody like my doc actually said that heart attack can actually lead to cardiac arrest and stuff. And when that happens, what do we need to do? What do? You do what they call the cardiopulmonary resuscitation, which is the CPR. But you must make sure that the person is totally unconscious and not breathing. Yes. So when the person is down, and not when the person is still talking to you, and like he said, you can administer aspirin so that the person will feel better, so that maybe blood to be a little bit there.
Okay. Dr. Pascal, I want us to discuss about how hypertension affects the sexual performance of men and women. Is it true that hypertension is more common during menopause? And can hypertension actually cause erectile dysfunction for men as well?
Erectile dysfunction, no, hypertension cannot cause erectile dysfunction for men. What it does though is it reduces the libido of the person. So you as a person now, you have hypertension, you are stressed. You understand? Stress also can cause hypertension. So you are stressed.
Wait. Stress can cause hypertension?
Yes. It's also yeah. So you are stressed, you are weak and all of that. So all this naturally will affect your performance and all that. So I won't say it will cause
erectile dysfunction,
but it would reduce your function in the bed and all that.
And is it more common during menopause?
No, it's not. It's more common in elderly age. Now, menopausal women are already climbing, so you can intertwine that, but I wouldn't say it's more common, just more common in elderly patients.
So now that she has taken us into the bedroom,
I knew Omega were interested.
No, not interest now. It's like if you consider Nigeria now and the reports that NAFDAC and all of that they've been putting out, they've been drug abuse. And one of the the category of drugs that have been consistently abused as sexual stimulants. Now, does this play any role in increasing blood pressure? Because I've heard some theories that put it this way, that first of all, that's why sometimes I've heard of stories of people during sexual intercourse, they had heart attack or whatsoever cardiac arrest. So first, in the point at the point of ejaculation or orgasm, does the blood pressure increase? And if it does, is there a risk in taking sexual stimulants that sometimes might have a boosting effect on the blood pressure? I don't know if you get my question.
Yeah, I get you. Okay. The bedroom is basically an exercise.
Okay.
When you're exercising, what happens? Your heart begins to pump faster. You understand? If you run a race now and you check your BP after running the race, you see that your BP is a little bit elevated. You understand? So you, in the bedroom, you are basically doing cardio in the bedroom. You understand? So yes, when you are ejaculating and all of that, your BP will be a little bit high. Yes, that is for sure. But then, in causes of hypertension, drugs, there are various drugs that do cause hypertension, such as non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. That's your pain medications such as ibuprofen, diclofenac, and all those other drugs. But if it has been proven that these other drugs that you just mentioned, these sex stimulant drugs, would affect the blood pressure, I don't think it has been proven yet. Yeah, but hopefully we get to know. But right now, I cannot tell you that it's.
Okay. You said we should always, that Dr. Pascal now to you, we should always check monitor our blood pressure even at home. Now that we get the kit and monitor our blood pressure at home. So my question is, how do we monitor our blood pressure? Is it while we are feeling that we are weak, or we're feeling like we're feeling very either weak or dizzy, or is it after we've rested then we can check our blood pressure? And should we do it while sitting down or lying down?
Okay, blood pressure normally when you go to a clinic, it's checked while you are sitting or while you are standing. It can be checked while you're sitting, and then the doctor can tell you, okay, stand, let me also check it while you're standing. Now, naturally, some patients, whenever they come to the hospital, they have this what we call the ward coat hypertension. So they see the doctor wearing a white coat, and then they're already hypertension. Yes. Their heart is already beating faster. So that's what we call the white coat hypertension. So usually patients are advised, especially patients that are predisposed, are advised to have a little kit at home. These days they make them easy to use. All you have to do is just press the button, and you tie the cuffs around your arm, and you can easily check it. You understand? Usually, if you check it before you come to the clinic, it's usually different based on this white coat hypertension. Yeah. So at home, you have to, if you're checking it, you have to check it periodically. It's not like, okay, after eating, you now can check it. After hearing a bad news, you now can check it. After you don't. Basically what you do is, okay, if you are checking it today in the evenings by 6 p.m. tomorrow evening by 6 p.m. next tomorrow by 6 p.m. And then you keep recording and making sure that you are monitoring yourself.
Before or after meals?
It can be anytime.
Anytime.
Just you have to just be periodic about it, and you can check it anytime basically.
Okay, so I have regarding checking of the blood pressure, I have two theories that you can debunk or agree to. So the first is, heard persons say that the digital speed is not as accurate as the analog speed. That's one. Then the second part is, there is a time to know the actual and accurate blood pressure. Now it varies. For example, it's not okay to declare that somebody is hypertensive or the blood pressure is high per se if the person just finished doing a strenuous exercise. That's not the best time. So it's more like maybe when you are more relaxed, that's when you get to know the actual stuff. So when you said periodically, like you made it like it's not fixed. So are you saying that? So I just get home for the day now. Am I supposed to check? Or it's better when I've freshened up
And that's what
and when I check.
yeah.
So I want you to bring more clarity to that.
Okay. When I meant periodically, I didn't use 6 p.m. as a definite time. I didn't mean it like that. So periodically means that when you are more relaxed, you can't be checking your blood pressure to know the real blood pressure after you just finished having exercise or after you just came out from the bedroom and all of that. You understand? It's going to give you a false reading as to what your actual blood pressure is. So periodically, it could be when you wake up in the morning. It could be before you go to bed at night. It could be in the afternoon. Not just when you are more relaxed, basically. And it should be at a particular, it should just be reoccurring it during that period when you are more. So why use 6 p.m. for example is you've gone to work, you've come back, you've relaxed, you've eaten and all of that. You come back by 4 o'clock, you've eaten and you are relaxed. You've eaten and you are relaxed and all that. And then you can check your blood pressure. You understand? Tomorrow, that same time is also relaxed, so you check your blood pressure and all that. You understand? So that's
So
basically
the
what I mean.
digital and analog speak.
Okay, so for the digital and analog speak rather, now the analog is based on the reader. It's an analog speak, so the person is listening basically. Now the digital you just put it in, impute it, and all of that. Now we cannot say the digital is bad, and we can't say the analog is better. You understand? For the analog, it depends on the capacity of the person that is using it. You understand? You cannot use an analog speak on yourself. You understand? So it's someone that has to administer that for you, and it's based on the capacity of that person. The person might not be good at it. The person might not know how to use it these days. Although in Nigeria we all still know how to use it. In abroad, in America and all those countries, I don't think they use the manual analog speak anymore. But basically, it depends on the person that is the capacity of the person that is operating the analog speak. So you can't say that the digital is worse or better than the analog.
Okay. Earlier you mentioned that we should limit that for persons who have hypertension, they should limit the intake of alcohol. Are there any other foods that can increase the level of blood pressure? And just let us know if there are meals that we should avoid so that it doesn't increase the blood pressure level.
Basically, you can take you avoid salty foods, like I said.
Salty
earlier.
foods, okay.
Avoid too much salt in your food. Then you can eat healthy. Eat fruits, for example, is fiber. Fruits containing good fiber. Always make sure you are eating fruits daily, and all of that. Then just basically avoid very salty food. Then eat food that have a high potassium content. So you can eat bananas, eat fruits basically.
So heavy meals like pounded yam, eba, and the rest does not really do they affect people who are who have hypertension? Heavy meals like apple and the rest.
Heavy meals are
Like there's personal interest here.
I don't have hypertension, so
no, I'm just talking about it. Just joking.
So do they really affect?
not really, but it's not advised to eat
Heavy.
Yeah.
How about sugar?
No, not
Sugar doesn't affect hypertension
No.
at all. Okay.
Okay, so Shona Sunday, let's talk about a typical and recommended first aid kit for someone who is hypertensive and has risk of heart attack. What would you advise that the person has around them?
When you're hypertensive, you should have your BP machine, because you should have that with you, so you can check regularly as usual according to prescription. So you check it, and also have your drugs with you as prescribed. Not what people do these days. Most time they just give them drug, like they will look at the name of the drug. They want to go and get it anytime when they are feeling this one attack. They want to buy it, and those are the reasons why we have some medical complications in the body. So you have this from this before you know you have heart attack, you have the other one, because you're doing self medication. So you should always go to hospital, get your drugs as prescribed, take them as prescribed, check your BP as prescribed, and also eat healthy. I think these are the kits you should have around you. Yes,
Okay.
those are very vital kits you should have around you.
All right. Dr. Pascal, without playing it down, tell us what are the consequences of hypertension if it is not controlled?
The consequences, just like the complications as I said earlier, consequences include stroke,
Stroke.
yes,
Okay.
stroke, heart attack, and stroke. These are basically the first complications. These are the consequences, the biggest consequences. The first and the biggest consequences you get. Then you can have heart failure. You can have memory problems, memory and understanding problems. You understand? You can also have kidney problems.
Or
You
from
can also have eye problems.
Hypertension, kidney problems.
Yes, you can also have eye problems as well.
Okay.
All right. So this is I don't know, but I think it might be related. So now, panic attack, hypertension. Is there a line? So can panic attack? What's the cause of panic attack? Is it a boost in person's pressure? Because there are some things that sometimes, and speaking with people, for example, I've met a couple of persons that their ringtone causes panic attack. They tell you that once their phone beeps, especially if they have a deadline to meet at work, and they just see there's this immediate tension and your heart rate increases immediately. So how can you tie that and how can it be managed if there's a relation? But any of you can jump at it.
I guess a panic attack basically is anxiety.
Okay.
When you are anxious, just like when you are doing anything that is strenuous, anxiety is stress on its own. Anytime I do something that is strenuous, your blood pressure is bound to increase. You understand? So that person is not hypertensive. The blood pressure, the heart will just, the BP will just increase. Not that the person becomes hypertensive. So it's not that the person is having a panic attack, you will not say the person is hypertensive. No, that's not it. Because as soon as after the person has met that deadline, it drops. After the person gets a relief from what is going through at that anxiety, the trigger for the anxiety, his heart rate drops. So you can't see the person's hypertensive.
All right.
Okay. We know we've always been hearing smokers are liable to die young and all of that. Smoking, does it increase the risk of the person having hypertension or suffering from heart attacks?
Yes, it does. Now, smoking has a range of diseases that is associated with, and you see in the smokers pack, they will draw it very well there for you. That okay, yes, smokers are liable. They will actually draw it for you.
Yes.
So smoking in itself, there are a range of diseases it can cause, cancers, all that. You understand? So yes, smoking also causes hypertension, heart attack, and all that. Yes, smoking actually does. Cannabis, whatever you are smoking, yes.
Okay. Is it true that women suffer from hypertension more than men do suffer from hypertension?
No, it's not. It's not true.
Not true. I've heard that being said before, that women suffer from more hypertension because of what they go through, and then the way the country is, and the way our society is. That women suffer from more hypertension than men do. Don't give me that face. Women suffer from more hypertension than men do. Is that true?
No.
And women are women more at risk of getting hypertension than men?
Okay. Pregnant women are at risk of hypertension. So pregnancy is also a cause of hypertension for pregnant women. For that part, we call it preeclampsia. So pregnant women are predisposed naturally to hypertension. Now, like I said, elderly people are also predisposed to hypertension. So women and men both. You understand?
But women more, because women get pregnant.
Nursing fathers, are they not predisposed?
Is there any word like nursing fathers, Ogaga? Seriously. Okay, so you talked about reducing our consumption of alcohol, not smoking at all, and we should avoid salty foods to actually help prevent hypertension and heart attacks. But for a person who has suffered from heart attack before, like the person who has had a case of heart attack before, what else, is there anything else the person can do to prevent future occurrences of heart attacks and being just having cardiac arrest or something?
The person has to be very judicious with his clinic visits.
Clinics visit.
Yeah. So basically, when you suffer from that, the doctor, after you have regained consciousness and all of that, and you're better, the doctor will always give you appointments to come back, and then the person must always have their blood pressure checked, as you understand, frequently, and the person must always attend the clinics and be very judicious with his drugs as well, because the drugs that will be prescribed for a very very long time, he has to be on those drugs very constantly.
Trainer Moses, do you want to add to that? What can a person do? As a person who has suffered from heart attack before, what else can they do to prevent future occurrences?
Yeah, like he has said, yes, you must be always regular with your clinical issues, and also make sure that your lifestyle will be changed, eat healthy, and you exercise, because when there is no enough blood supply to the heart, cause all the stuff, and make sure you do your exercise, watch your weight, eat healthy, and also when you're on medical surveillance, don't miss any bit of it. Always visit your doctor.
Okay, thank you so much. Today we've been talking about hypertension and stroke, and we'll be speaking with Dr. Okonkwo Pascal. He is a volunteer of the Nigerian Red Cross Society Delta State Branch, and Trainer Sunday Moses, a trainer of the Nigerian Red Cross Society Delta State Branch. Before you go, your last words to Deltans or to people out there who have actually been watching, or people who are suffering from hypertension or had issues of heart attack. Your last words.
I would like to say that everyone should check their blood pressure regularly. Hypertension is not called the silent killer just for namesake. It's actually the silent killer, and you never really see it coming. And don't think that it cannot be you. Don't think that, okay, you've been living healthy and you are okay and all of that. So you should not expect yourself to be in that kind of situation. But it happens to anybody because genetically it could be you. So basically check your blood pressure, and if you're hypertensive, please take your drugs. Always visit your doctor, and always check and monitor your blood pressure. And if you notice anyone having the symptoms that I said earlier about the heart attack, the person's having chest pain, please call the doctor immediately. Shout for help, call an ambulance, or call the hospital, and ensure you get the person to the hospital early and faster.
Trainer Sunday Moses.
Self-medication is a sin. Self-medication is a big sin. So don't go about getting drugs for yourself because you feel you have one. It can lead you to all these things. And also eat healthy. Eat healthy. Exercise always. Please try and sweat at least once a day. Yes. And if you do all of this, I tell you, you'll be running away from all these complications. I think that's my own form.
Thank you so much, Dr. Okonkwo Pascal and Trainer Sunday Moses. Thank you for joining us this morning on the morning ride. We
Thank you
really
very
appreciate
much.
your
Really
presence.
appreciate
Thank you.
On hypertension and heart attack, Dr. Chibueze and Trainer Sunday Moses, very, very specific. hypertension, obesity, and heart attack, smoking, chronic alcoholism, and basically the best way to prevent these situations, medical conditions, is to exercise, a healthy lifestyle, and that's something we should all indulge in. Offset, Petra and I were talking about hitting the gym and all of that. Pepe, right?
Yeah.
So it's
very
2025
important.
and it's a time for us to stay healthy, because sometimes a situation like hypertension might not necessarily be your fault, because as it was stated, it could be as a result of your genetics and all of that. So stay fit, exercise. When you say exercise, it does not necessarily mean that you have to go and burn fat and all of that. Keeping fit is part of exercising. Right, it's time for us to move to the next segment here on the morning ride. We have with us, after the last time I saw her was last year, our ex-girl, not my ex-girl, our ex-girl, Patience Ifere, and she's looking ravishing.
Thank you.
Happy
It's not
New
yet
Year.
Valentine's
New
Day.
Year, new you.
Yes, New Year, new
you
me,
are
new vibes.
glowing.
You
Thank
look
you.
good.
Is this caramel popping or what?
Yeah, caramel
Oh
popping.
God.
You love my
Okay.
skin.
Have mercy. My someone is jealous. My producer.
Yeah, he is. He
Our
has been
PD.
disturbing me since.
Our PD. Oh, our PD has been disturbing you.
Yes,
You look.
You look good.
Thank
You're
you so much.
glowing.
How's
Thank
your
you,
holiday?
Pepe. Thank you, Abaga. Fine, thank you. I really enjoyed my Christmas holiday. That's why I didn't want to come back, but I had to because I needed to do my job, and I miss you guys so much.
It's good to have you back.
Yeah, we are back on the biggest X trend. For those watching us for the first time, we keep you updated on what is happening on X app, formerly known as Twitter. Stay tuned, don't touch that dial. I remain your X girl. So we have a few things trending this week. You know, it's the start of the year. We don't really have like much trending. Usually we do like a major and a minor trend, but this time around we'll just like go through all of the trends without like adding a major or a minor trend. So the first on the trend is hashtag Timileyin. Timileyin was trending alongside hashtag gospel artists. I guess this is not new. This is all over the social media, and this trend is really interesting to note and shocking at the same time. So Timileyin is a gospel singer who was arrested by a police officer for beheading his girlfriend in Abuja. Apparently, this young man was caught trying to run away with the body parts of his girlfriend of 1 year after cutting her into pieces and was going to dispose it. That was when he was caught. So quickly, I want us to like watch a video of him confessing. This is the young girl on the screen who was beheaded by this said guy. So we want to watch a video of him confessing on the screen, then I'll take some of the tweets and then hear your views. I'll begin with your Gaga. So let's quickly watch the video.
Is known locally as a gospel singer, but he was caught last Sunday with the severed head of his alleged girlfriend, Salome Adaidu, in Orozo, a community in Nasarawa State. The incident has since left many in shock with questions on why he did it. AIT News spoke with the suspect, who explained that he dismembered her with a knife and cutlass because he wanted to end their 1 year relationship.
Okay, that day, I invited her to come to my house. So she came. She was asking me for transport. I thought I didn't have. She now came. So when she came, she was not asking me for 3,000. I told her, me too, I don't have 3,000. I'm only managing myself. She said, no, well, I said she will stay like that. She can't stay. I can't go buy no more. She can't stay. As she stayed, that's how the whole thing starts. She can't say she's hungry. I can't tell her and say, make she relax. Food they come. She can't say, no wahala. Say she go wait, the food come. And she can't wait. She can't wait. Oh, her body temperature can't rise. Because she's hungry, they marry her. I can't go marry Indomie for her. She can't carry noodles come. How I want to prepare them. She was asking. I told her it's the way I want to prepare it. She can't say no while. I just make sure so I cook and say she's nice. She can't I can't cook and she can't nice. She can't nice the thing. She can't go. She can't. Her food can't ready.
Okay, so those of our time we'll be moving on to the tweets. So one person said he's acting deranged so that they will say he's mentally unstable and they will make his sentence lighter. But even more insane is how he used cheating because he knows there are people out here that will justify it. Another person said something similar. He said he's a liar. The girl didn't cheat on him. He had to play the cheating card so as to sway public opinions. I firmly believe he is an organ harvester, and the girl isn't his first victim. I'm sure he had murdered many other innocent souls before his ex-girlfriend. He's a monster. Ogaga, I would like you to go first. What's your take on this?
Okay, my heart goes out to the family of Salome. It's a very, very painful experience having trained a child, now serving, finished tertiary institution, now serving, 24-year-old, and her life was cut short by this incident. It's very, very sad.
Yeah.
And I agree because I watched a couple of interviews relating to this issue. I heard Salome's, that the late Salome's uncle speaking,
Yeah.
and I agree with him. He said that this is not this guy's first victim, that he has different machetes, knives that he uses in perpetrating his act. And from the way he was speaking, you know that it's not the first time.
Yeah.
See, if, I don't know, to take a life, like sometimes, even when you see, for example, I've seen situations where people are trying to, let's say, kill a cat or harm a dog. I feel somehow when the dog is screaming, an animal, let alone a human being. And if it was your first time, you were caught in the act, there's a way you will feel like, but the guy was he was not remorseful at all. And the uncle was talking about, he said the way the body parts of Salome were cut, that showed that, like, the precision, it was not done by an amateur.
Yeah.
So apparently, and I was even, I think it was yesterday or thereabout, I heard somebody saying something about he was trying to lure somebody else as well, that a lady put out a chat.
Yes, a lady put out
that
a chat.
chat
online,
that
yeah.
said she come for karaoke, Christian
Yes,
karaoke,
yes.
you sleep over, and I was like, this is
So she was
fishy.
supposed to be a victim, for God's sake.
So it means that he has been doing this, and it was not only Salome tried to lure, and also Salome's sister, she also said that they don't know the guy. So this relationship that he's claiming that he had is alleged because the family member, they don't recognize him. And I agree with sister, because sister was saying, like, the way her family is, her sister is dating somebody for a year and she has not heard the person's name once. Even though you are, that's not the situation, but even though for people that double dates, you will hear the name. People that have friends that are close, you will hear the name in the house. You never heard the guy's name. So it's even difficult to believe that he was actually dating this girl. So she was probably just a victim that was lured, and he's putting up these stories. He's acting, because, and I agree, it's acting deranged. That's why I was saying that he was not caught. That he was the one that surrendered himself. So
yeah.
it was, they asked him his age. He said he's 30, but initially he said 32.
32, yeah.
So I think that because people that understand law to a certain level, they'll tell you that it's one of the things that this kind of thing can be excused and the punishment reduced is on the basis of insanity. So when they evaluate you and they realize that psychologically you are not okay, so
Mentally stable.
the verdict is reduced and punishment is reduced. So it's a sad one, and this is just a call for people to be careful. Like I was talking on radio and I was just advising, I know that yes, we need God also, but just try to be careful. Anytime, especially was it the situation that happened in Asaba at SARS Road opposite airport. So I always tell people, if you want to go somewhere, let people know. If I'm in Asaba, if I'm going somewhere in Asaba, somebody in Asaba always know where I am. If I'm leaving Asaba out, my family members will know. At least my brother, my older brother will know. I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm leaving Asaba. I'm going to Oguashuku. I just got to the park. I just left the park. I'm in Lagos right now. I'm coming back right now. I'm at so person's place. Let people know where you are. So it's a very, very sad one, and I hope, just like they've demanded for justice, that he feels the full wrath of what he has done. Honestly, it's very, very painful.
Yeah, thank you very much. I sympathize with the family as well. How about you, Pepe? Let me hear from you.
Okay, I'll toe the line of Ogaga, where he said that in this era and time we find ourselves in, I know that we love our privacies and we want to do things, on our own, but we've are now finding ourselves in a situation where you just have to tell someone where you're going to. Yes, you have to tell someone where you are going to. According to what was making the rounds in her mind, according to the guy, they were in a relationship, and notwithstanding, even if you're with your partner, you've got to tell someone. This is an eye opener. We used to think it was the bad guys in quote, that would do things like this.
Okay.
But according to stories making rounds, he's from, the church, religious organization. It tells you that.
What if he's just using that as a cover?
I think he's using that as a cover.
No, cover or not cover. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
I
what
get your point.
I'm working with
What is
information
out
made
there,
available on face value.
Okay.
Now it tells you that even where we feel like we should be safe, we should also be vigilant. And you would not blame the girl. In her mind, she thought she was probably in a loving and faithful relationship with a guy who loved her. So this is an eye opener that even with your partner, you can never be too careful.
Yeah.
You've got to exercise caution. You've got to tell people around where you're going to. You've got to be most importantly, just trust your instinct. Others can lie. Your instinct, when your body tells you it's not it, you can unlock the details later, but work with your instincts basically.
Okay, thank you very much for your contribution. So the next trend is #Spyro. So Spyro said, "Ubi Franklin, please pay me my money." So Spyro in an interview spoke about Ubi Franklin, said that they attended a show together. Sorry, they attended a birthday together, Yanya's birthday, that was last year. And Ubi Franklin forced him to do a show in the birthday, right? So, and then when he did the show, they agreed to pay him, Ubi Franklin agreed to pay Spyro $5,000, which Spyro didn't like the amount of money because that's not what he charged on a daily basis. He charges 20 million naira. But apparently, he was like, okay, I'm going to pay you $5K. So now, the bone of contention is Ubi Franklin has not paid Spyro. So, but we're going to watch the video of how Spyro said everything so that you get clarity. And I'm going to read what the clapback of Ubi Franklin, debunking the news that Spyro is a liar and all of that. So quickly, let's watch a video of Spyro in the interview telling us how Ubi Franklin didn't pay him his money.
An issue with Ubi Franklin. Yeah, so he called me on the morning and he was like, "Oh, he's going to Ghana." I'm like, "Oh, what's happening in Ghana?" I said, "It's Yanya's birthday." I said, let's go celebrate Yanya. Ubi just came down and said, David said that we should come perform at the birthday party that he was invited to, that we should come perform, that he was going to give us 5K. I said, I called him to the side. I said, "Bro, first of all, I don't charge 5K. My Nigerian currency, where they charge, the least I do is 20 million. And on getting there, David was on stage. He came back from the stage he came down from the stage and I just said, Ubi just came to me, he said, "You are going on stage now." Before you know, MC don't announce, we have first Spyro. Bro, I couldn't even, and I had to call my friend and say, what kind of, and at that point I cannot decline and say, no, I'm not doing again, because there were dignitaries there. There were a lot of people there. So my friend said, "Oh, you got to do it." So I went up, I dragged my leg to the stage, I performed, and right after, I said, "Okay, Ubi, Shebi, you don't try go make me. I don't perform now. Where my money?"
So let's quickly read some of the quotes. So there was a chat between Ubi Franklin and Spyro. Spyro put this out there. He said, "Pastor Ubi, how far now? I don't want to go sleep like this, so what's the update? Good morning, brother. Where are you? Good morning. I did airport. Bro, I passed out." This is Ubi Franklin speaking. Then Sparrow responded, Pastor Ubi, you ain't saying anything about my money. Waiting they happen. Then Ubi Frankie responded, I never collect them yet. Then we'll bring them home for me. So because of our time, I want to rush this. So Ubi responded. Ubi was like, that's a whole lie, that he is not owing Sparrow anymore. That in fact Sparrow is supposed to pay him money because he introduced him to Davido and he introduced him to some of the like top celebrities. So whenever he does that, Sparrow is supposed to, he gets his 10%. So Sparrow is supposed to pay him. But from everything, from the beginning of everything, Ubi never stated it out there that okay, this is how it's supposed to be. So this is what Ubi said. He stopped picking my calls. If we do plus and minus, he Sparrow is meant to pay me money. In 2025, I will clear my accusation brought against me. Sparrow, where is my 10% from the car deal? You owe me 2.5 million naira. So let me really quickly read tweets. Then after the tweet, I'll hear your opinions. You go all around scamming people of their money, and this has to stop. Ubi, you are still going to pay this money, or we will drag it till Jesus comes. This is one of the members of Sparrow. That's one of his friends. So I've been hearing a lot about Ubi Franklin since last year, that he used to like link up celebrities, eat their money, won't pay them. Even last year, Very Dark Man also said something about Ubi Franklin associating with Davido and putting Davido's name on the line. So what do you have to say about this, Pipi? Can you go first?
Okay, I feel that those involved are adults. If they feel they cannot sort it out, that's why the court is there. You know, they should go bring their evidences and sort it out. But like you said, in all honesty, this is not the first time this kind of accusation is being made about Ubi Franklin. And you know, when more than one person who don't, more than one or two people who don't know each other are saying same thing about you, then it's time that you really need an introspection. You need to check. You need to be honest. You need to dot your T's and cross your T's and dot your I's, because you don't know who you're going to meet in future. But basically, if he's still standing his ground that he doesn't owe Sparrow, Sparrow knows what to do. They are adults.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I saw a couple of the receipts that were put out there. Truth is, when you see the receipt, you know that Obi's story doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Because Obi was claiming that he told Sparrow was going to give him 10% from the vehicle deal and all of that. But when you see, even Obi shot himself in the foot, because when you see the screenshot he put out, the 10% he actually forwarded to Sparrow was actually the car dealer's 10% discount that they were going to give Sparrow on the cost of sale of the car. That's what was there. So him trying to feel like Sparrow owes me money because he paid for the car, he didn't give me 10%. So that's that. I feel like if it's, for example, me saying something like, okay, let's assume that you are owing me money and I collected funds from you and I say, Pepe, I'll give you this money tomorrow. If I've said that I will give you this money tomorrow, even though you are owing me, I should give you that money tomorrow. Except at the point of collecting it, I'll say, okay, just give me these funds. Deduct it from what you are owing me. But if he didn't do that, and that's not even the situation, and it does not make sense to me, because Obi's argument doesn't make sense, because, for example, you are taking a client, Sparrow, to a car dealer to purchase a car. Who's supposed to give you 10%? It's not the car dealer that's supposed to give you 10%. Is it the person that is buying the car that? So everything from his chats, he didn't tell Sparrow that, but we're just trying to assume that if that was even the case, Sparrow is not supposed to give him 10%. And now he lied, first of all, that it was Davido that said he was going and perform. Now they started dragging him for money. He's not saying, don't tell David. It wasn't David. Now you're coming out to say you owe me money. It doesn't add up. And I think that it's not good for Ubi Franklin's reputation. And like VDN said, even Davido, but they know how they do their stuff, so they know why they are rolling with one another. And apart from that, just digressing a little, this is my opinion too, because Sparrow said a couple of things during his chat room session. I don't know, maybe that's how people see the show is, but I'm part of the people that feel you can say some things, but it's not everything that you need to say. And this goes to the Paulo conversation when I was talking about Paulo and all of that. Yes, he said this is truth. He has the right to do that. But in my opinion, I feel like if at a point in time but maybe he didn't get that full support. I'm not really a supporter of talking that, but that's what most people do on showbiz now. When they just see the mic before them, they just say a couple of things, even though the person was once upon a time your employer, the kind of things that you say and all of that. So I feel like once people start rising to fame, you have to be careful, especially in the music industry when they say there's a cabal. It also happens in sports, and that's one of the things that's happening to Victor Osimhen when he had a was modest about it. They will respect him more than just throwing your boss under the bus. Like, when I was with this person didn't do well to me, and this, that. But whether I like it or not, at one point in time, that person was your boss. So that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to the next hashtag, which is hashtag Ngozi Ezonu. Ngozi Ezonu, in a video, scolded two upcoming female actors for coming to her audition without dressing properly. She said, "I will disqualify any lady who comes for an audition without wearing a bra." So, but some Twitter fans, when they saw the video displayed, some of them, they were in support of the lady, some of them were in support of Ngozi Ezonu because of the way she went about it. And some person said she wasn't supposed to put that out there. So let me read some of the comments. She did the right thing. She didn't video it. Someone else said, "Shameless, immoral fellows will find ways to blame. If she was their biological mom, scolding them in public, should they sue their mom? A generation that lost shame and supports shamelessness." The way Ngozi Ezonu berated those two young ladies is very wrong. She could have called them off camera and cautioned them or advised them, not videoed them and violated their privacy. As a veteran actor, she should be civilized to have known this. If she had gone to the United States to shoot a movie, would she talk to American kids that came for auditioning like that? So, Ogaga, you go first.
I see like that last ex post. When I see comments, statements like that, it hurts me, and that's one of the major cause of moral decadence here. See, the American culture and the Nigerian culture, they are two different cultures.
Okay.
And when people try to juxtapose them or want to infuse or superimpose the American culture on Nigerians, it's wrong. When you say if she goes to America, that's how they behave there. Do you understand? So you cannot come and say in the American culture, our decency is different. So what she did, and like what the first post you read, the person said, it was not Ngozi that videoed them. She was just, so if I call for a job interview and at the end of the day, I'm done with the interview, I can address and rebuke the people that came. It's my interview, my rules. I'll be like, next time if you're coming for an interview, I will not tolerate anybody coming with shorts or coming without a tie. The next time I call for an interview and any of you maybe you're privileged, you're qualified and you come for that interview, I will not attend to you. It's my interview. So if you go and put it out there and you now start telling me if it was an American this thing, no. It's wrong. The way the ladies were looking, it was appalling, it was indecent, and that's why these things will keep going that way. So she doesn't like, and like I was reading a couple of tweets on X, and somebody was saying that this should be seen as a job interview. Will you go for a job interview like that? That's the question. And I don't know what role, because also, to be fair on them, a balanced argument, someone was not like, it also depends on the role. So for example, if somebody was going to audition for a hookup girl, probably that will fit into that costume will fit into this. So I don't know the script, but for example, if you are coming to audition for the role of a CEO, an MD, and you're dressed like that, it's totally wrong now. It's totally wrong. And to me, That's the thing about Nigerians. To me, she even did the right thing because it would have been terrible of her not to correct them. So when somebody does something wrong and you correct them, they should see it as a good thing rather than looking at one of the things someone once told me back then, and I started going by that. He said, when someone tells you the truth, the first thing you should take is the truth. Ignore how they told you, and you will grow in life that way. You will go far. So, because if you want to always focus on, why did you have to tell me this thing? Why, you will not get the message. See, get the message. Yes, maybe the person might be wrong with their approach, which, in my opinion, I don't think she was even wrong here. So that's it. It's very terrible. Let's not bring other people's culture and try to superimpose it on the Nigerian culture. That's the cause of moral decadence in our environment right now.
Pepe, do you have anything contrary to say or the same thing?
It's same thing, but
Okay.
if you watch how Ngozi corrected those two girls, Ngozi was not talking from the point of an actress. She was talking from the point of a mother, because she was very, very disappointed. She said something like that told the line of, "When I was your age, I wouldn't dress this way." She was disappointed, and what I believe that what was running through her mind was, does this want have parents? Because I'm sorry, anomaly in the society has become the norm, that we can dress anyhow we want to dress, and some of our parents would keep eyes like they are not seeing us, and it's a problem. That guy that did that, that tweeted that last tweet, it was very, very wrong, because if roles were reversed, I'm not sure he will want his daughter or someone close to him to dress like. I'm not sure he would okay that kind of dressing. So I feel like we should come to a point in the society where when we see black, we call it black, notwithstanding who is wearing the black.
Okay.
And when it's white, we call it white, notwithstanding who is wearing the white. Under normal circumstances, that dressing is inappropriate. It's not decent. Probably if you want to have a costume to audition for a role of probably a call girl or someone wayward, you have your costume in your bag. But from your house, you dress appropriate, and someone that who is sane, because you're going to be seeing different people you recognize, people you don't recognize. When you get to the venue of your auditioning, you can ask for a room, and then you change, you play your role, you change back into your normal clothes, and then you go home. You don't have to act out overboard to prove a point or to show that you are reigning, or I don't know what their aim was. Honestly, I don't know what their aim was. I'm not going to judge them based on what they dressed, because influence too works, because those girls are young too. Influence is a thing. I'm not going to judge them based on what I saw, but however it is, I just pray that they've gotten the correction, and in years from now there will be better individuals for it.
And just to chip in on the lighter note, even in our society here in Asaba, it happens. I have a friend that will ask me, say, Ogaga, the ban for Asaba.
Yes.
Is it because once you are walking past every girl, once you look at her bosom, things are looking at you confidently. I'm like, is it not supposed to be covered? They ban her for Asaba.
In the evenings.
It's terrible.
Very
It's not just in the evening. Go to the market, go to midwifery, go to Gogono.
There are locations.
Actually, but I think I agree to what
will
Ogaga
check them
said.
out.
Coming to Asaba, like I've been in Asaba a few months. I'm a girl. I'm not judging anyone. But then I think it's more
It's not
rampant
judging.
in this
I see
access.
He's terrible.
It is more rampant. Like you go on the street and like, oh wow, this is a norm here. Nobody's saying anything.
But it's an
about it.
anomaly, obviously.
It's
Yeah.
terrible.
It's an anomaly.
I think it's just some like parts like Lagos, Asaba. Like what's going
So
on?
it's in this city, people like us that want to love God and read our Bible.
That's where Ogaga, I'll cut you short there. That's where the point of individual focus and discipline comes. Because
in.
as an individual, you will see things you don't plan to see. You would come in contact with people that you didn't dream of coming in contact with. People that will get on your nerves. Things you will see that will throw you overboard.
True.
That's why individually, as a lady, as a guy, you come in contact with those things. You just stay focused. You stay disciplined. If you're the type that mutter prayers, and you just ask for grace to go on with your daily activities with a clean mind. I am advising you.
The way he told this thing, I was saying to the letter, the way he told this thing, you're making it sound like
let's be
I'm
honest.
looking at people.
No, let's be honest, because there are girls too that see things about guys that they don't plan to see.
Yeah.
Obviously, there There are guys like that your body
Pepe,
is really good,
let's
and
leave
then
this
you
thing.
dress. No,
Let's leave
no.
this thing. See, men are more moved by what they see.
Exactly. Ogaga.
Ladies is what they hear.
Ogaga. I'm not making it a gender thing. I'm just trying to say on both ways.
Yes, be
we see
disciplined.
things that we don't plan to see. We hear things we don't plan to hear. We come in contact with things that we didn't plan for. That's where individual discipline comes to play. That's what I'm just trying to say.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to the last trend. So the federal government, the trend is hashtag Tinubu. So the federal government to transfer 75,000 naira to 70 million Nigerians before December 31st, 2025.
Pepe, I have you.
No, I'm proud of the
Are you poorest of the poor?
Okay, so we are discussing here roughly about 70 million households with about 75,000 naira per person this year. The minister noted the initiative is part of President Bola Tinubu's directive to address extreme poverty and create more inclusive social safety net. Let me quickly read the tweets. Someone said, waiting this money won't reach person do. Oga set up a company and employ people and bring down inflation rates. Be like Ona, no, say people they hungry. Money will not reach buy half bag of rice. Another person said, they keep missing the point. Inflation is already at a record high. The purchasing power is gone. Fix our electricity and encourage more businesses. End insecurity and produce more food. Pepe, I like it to go first.
Okay. The initiative is good.
Yeah.
I would like, but when you just oppose it side by side with the current economic situation in the country, I would want to toe the line of the first person that said, set up a company, employ more people, and reduce inflation rate, because we know what's happening in the society now. If they give you 100,000 naira to go to the market, you think that someone put his hand in your bag and stole money. When you go home, you begin to make calculations. You first of all, you accuse yourself, why am I careless? It's like I lost money in the market. It's when you make calculations that you find out that you even added, let's say, 20k or 30k to that 100k because you didn't, it wasn't enough for you. So above the initiative, which is a good one, I believe that the issue be nipped in the bud. First of all, address the issue of inflation, because it's no longer funny again. A bulb of onions is 500, above 500. I don't know how long we'll continue to toe this line. A bag of rice above 100,000. I don't know. My heart is sincerely going out to households that have children. Children, 4, 5, 6 children. Every day I stand up, when I pray, I just think about them. How are these people putting up with the current economic realities? So the idea is a good one, but above it, the economic realities should be put into consideration and the root causes of the anomaly be nipped in the bud.
Thank you very much.
Okay, very quickly because of time. I told an opposite stand from the virtual, the idea is not a good one. Because when I punch my calculator, it's 5,250 billion. Now imagine what 5 trillion would do if properly used. Now if you give people 75,000 naira, inflation eats up everything. It amounts to nothing. So if somebody uses 75,000 naira, for someone like me, 75,000 naira now will not be enough for me in a day, because I can't stop my house. It's finished already. But let's say the poorest of the poor, 75,000 naira for a week. After that, what next? So I don't know if you get it. Like what that person said, power. For example, there are people that do laundry. There are people that have barbing shop. There are people that sew. But if you even give them this 75,000 naira, the cost of fuel, we eat it up in less than 3-4 days. It's gone. So they are struggling. But if, for example, you put this thing and you stabilize our power sector, that person will not be poor. The person might just be an average person, but the person will not need to beg for another 75,000 naira again. So that's why I totally condemn it. And the truth is, the transparency in our system also is an issue. So that's why I don't like this disbursement of funds. When we ask for our social register now to start speaking English, when was the last time it was updated? How many people got the 75,000 naira? They should come and indicate online. We don't see them. Sometimes when they even distribute these monies, so maybe through the government, some people who are alleged opposition will say it's only the ruling parties people that got it. So many things surrounding it. So that's why I'm not a fan of, I don't support disbursement of funds of this sort. If you put 5 trillion naira to do something tangible for the people, it will alleviate the suffering of more persons than giving 75,000 naira to 70 million Nigerians. All right, that's what we get to put the plug on today's biggest trend on X. Thank you so much. Patience.
Thank you too. Thank you, Pepe. Thank you, Ogaga, for making it a nice time with you.
All right, we'll move now to our next stop, which will be the headlines across the different dailies. We'll do that right after this break. Stay with us. Friday's edition of the Morning Ride. It's time now for us to look at some of the headlines across the different dailies. We've got the Nigerian Tribune, the Daily Trust, the Punch, the Daily Times, Daily Independent, Vanguard, the Nation, and the Guardian newspapers. We kick off with the Nigerian Tribune, and I think we just do 2 headlines per paper because of our time. The lead here says, governors propose new VAT sharing formula. And the second headline I will be taking from the Nigerian Tribune is, federal government dismisses Emir Sanusi's comments on Tinubu's economic reforms. You can get that on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, taking a quick look at the Daily Trust newspaper, the screaming headline here says, tax reforms, governors reject VAT hike, propose new sharing formula, stop scrapping of TED Fund, Naseni and NITDA. Another headline here says, Truck kills 6 family members and 8 others in Benue State.
Moving out to the Punch, the major headline. Dangote refinery projects 650,000 barrels per day June. Plans crude import. And the Ryder facility now producing 500,000 barrels per day as officials look beyond Nigeria to meet demand for product. And the second headline from the Punch newspaper, Fubara, Wike camps clash as police occupy Rivers PDP secretariat.
All right, looking at the Daily Times newspaper this morning, it says food security, NAS advocates higher budgetary allocation for agric sector, and NAS, willful ineffectiveness of standing committees.
Moving out to the Daily Independent, because the major headline is same with previous lead headline. I'll take another headline. 2025 budget. Senate will ensure every naira spent touches lives of Nigerians. This is coming from the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio. I indeed hope so. Alleged 12.3 billion naira fraud. EFCC to arraign Otudeko, ex-First Bank MD Onasanya.
Looking at the Vanguard newspaper, the major story here says tax bills. Governors offer new formula for sharing VAT procedures. Propose VAT distribution based on 50% equality, 30% derivation, and 20% population. Back Tinubu on reforms. Why North is jittery over tax reforms? Senator Akpoti Udwahan. And influx of ISWAP. Southern governors mobilize and activate regional security.
Moving out to the Guardian newspaper, the lead headline here, War Against Terrorists, caught in the middle, survivors count cause for accidental airstrikes. You can find that on big story pages 4 and 5 of the Guardian newspaper. Then from the Guardian newspaper also, the second headline, rowdy session at National Assembly over budget defense. You can get that on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper.
All right, looking at the Nation newspaper, it says governors back tax reform bills seek adjustment to VAT. NGF, we stand for equitable distribution of resources. Grey areas resolved, says Sule. And EFCC to arraign Otudeko Onasonya over alleged 123 billion naira fraud.
All right, we head back to the studio now. All right, that's all we will be doing today across the different dailies. Because of our time, we won't be able to delve in nor consider any of the headlines, but thankfully when Petro and I started, we already talked about the governors proposing the new VAT sharing formula and now standing behind the president on the new tax bill. All right, moving now to our final interview for the day. It will be on breastfeeding. Way to go. If you are a nursing mother or a potential mother, this is an interview you need to pay attention to. To stay with us.
here on Delta Television. This is the
Deltas.
breastfeeding working doctor mother with us in the house, Dr. Precious Oyebarin. Good to have you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good morning. Welcome to Money Ride.
Yes.
Welcome.
You see the topic right on your screen, breastfeeding, way to go. Really, I had a fair share while I was a baby, but then we're going to hear more about why we should even go into breastfeeding and why it's very important. So before I talk to the working class breastfeeding mother, let's talk to the pediatrics resident doctor there at Aswa Specialist Hospital. How necessary is breastfeeding?
Thank you very much. In fact, the importance of breastfeeding cannot be overstated because it's very important. Breastfeeding is an unmatched, unequaled, ideal feeding for every newborn and infant. Why is it very important? This is because the breast milk has a lot of constituents that protects the child and ensure well-groomed child that could thrive very well. Now, if you want to go into details so that we can appreciate how important it is, that you can look at the constituents of breast milk itself. It has what we call the colostrum. Now, this is a thick yellowish breast milk that comes out soon after delivery and lasts up to few days after delivery. It contains what we call immunoglobulins. This protects the child from, it's an anti-infective agent that protects the child's gut from outside or invading bacteria. You know, it keeps the child well checked. It's like a fighter that is already in the gut, so that when foreign bacteria enters, you know, it protects the child and gives the child some immunity. Breastfeeding, the breast milk also helps the child, prevents the child from other diseases like diarrhea diseases, urinary tract infections, ear infections like hepatitis B, there are even chest infections like pneumonia. It goes further to also helps prevent the child from developing allergies like asthma, you know, because it has some anti-inflammatory agents like the immunoglobulin A that is found in the breast milk. So for when a child is, you know, that's the first thing you are exposing the child to. You know, of course, it's like you are fortifying the child already, making the child get ready for the environment. So the importance, there are other importance of breast milk, not just to the child alone, but also to the mother. In fact, you know, as a woman, just after giving birth, the woman bleeds. So there's what we call involution. By breastfeeding, that action of breastfeeding sends some impulses to the brain that helps release some hormones which we call oxytocin and helps contractions. This prevents the woman from bleeding excessively, which we call postpartum hemorrhage. It also helps the woman, it reduces the risk of ovarian cancers and for breast cancer in premenopausal women. The other importance outside the woman, even to the family and to the environment. You see, economic costs.
Environment.
Of course, it's not just limited to the mother and the child. So when you're talking of breastfeeding, it's like an encompassing thing. It's environmental friendly. It's also cost effective. It's readily available in the best taste and temperature that is needed for the child to thrive very well. So once the child is well breastfed, that's the first thing you give to this child when the child is born. As a mother, you have this fulfillment. You are satisfied that you have done at least the best for the child. Well, the background is fortified.
Okay. You made mention of breast milk being economic friendly and readily available. But we've heard of cases where women put to bed and it's difficult for them to start breastfeeding. What could be responsible for a woman giving birth and having difficulty with producing the breast milk for the baby?
Okay. It's a process and it differs from one woman to the other. Now, while some women, even at their last trimester, just at the completion of the pregnancy, the hormone is already sending signals, there's already let down of milk, you'll be seeing the woman will be letting down milk slowly. Some women, it may take days for this process to complete. Now, it also depends on the emotional state of the woman, because that is where the family support, your husband, your spouse, friends and relatives comes in, because the emotions of the woman, it affects her breast milk let down. So for some women, they really don't lactate early. For those kind of women, you just encourage them, you hydrate them very well, tell them to eat well, to rest well, and take a lot of water. In 1 or 2 days, you start seeing them lactating.
Okay, let's talk to the doctor, breastfeeding mother. It was quite easy for you, as a doctor. You already knew that you had to do this.
Yeah, sure.
But it's also, in the reverse side, a challenge for other mothers who might not be as trained as you are, knowing how necessary it is to breastfeed their babies. Now, let's ask the question, which I kind of remembered, how difficult it is for some women. At the moment when they give birth, they find it hard to lactate. And then I see children starve.
Okay.
I see doctors say, do not feed the child. Keep trying, keep trying. How long will the child fast before something? Because I see that as serious level of fasting. The child is doing some kind of fasting process, perhaps getting ready for the world, and the mother is still struggling to just let a milk drop. How necessary is that particular first drop of milk?
First of all, I had that challenge.
Okay.
So I didn't lactate till about 2 days. But the child won't starve because the child can be sustained.
How?
By in the first 24 hours without milk.
That's how God. Without water, without anything.
Without water is dangerous for a newborn. First of all, you shouldn't give a newborn water. It's very dangerous. If I should use the word dangerous, yeah, you don't give a newborn water. So the newborn can stay for the first 24 hours without food. But as neonatologists, we can give this child IV fluid or commence temporarily breast milk substitute till the mother achieves lactation.
What's breast milk substitute?
Our
baby food,
infant formulas.
Okay,
that's what we call breast milk substitute. So you can give them till the mother achieves lactation. Now it depends on the mother to promote this lactation. Like what I did then, I had my pump ready. I was always stimulating my breasts to make my body produce this breast milk. And also I was putting my child to breast because I wanted to do exclusive breastfeeding. I was cancelled and I had so many people, especially my HOD. She said she breastfed her child till up to 2 years plus. So I said I must do it. So I had my mind ready, irrespective of the fact that I know I will face these challenges. I had my mind ready. I decided that I will breastfeed my child exclusively for the first 6 months, and I will continue till at least 2 years. And I'm still doing it.
Oh
yes,
oh
I have an 18-month-old which I'm still breastfeeding, and it's lovely. Yeah.
Okay, so talk to us about the importance of exclusive breastfeeding, because that has been an issue between women. Women who say, okay, I will need to breastfeed my child for 6 months. Others don't mind. Others, because of their jobs, they just decide to do it for 3 months and then they stop. Is there really any benefit for breastfeeding a child exclusively for 6 months?
Yes. My colleague just mentioned the importance of breastfeeding. It cannot be overemphasized. Now, God has made it in a way that the breast milk is enough, provides enough nutrients for your child till 6 months. So that breast milk is enough. But the thing is, the way and approach you give your child determines if your child will get full with the breast milk, or you think your child is not getting filled with breast milk. So that's it.
As much we can take on the interview on breastfeeding by Dr. Sarah O and Dr. Precious Oye Marie. It was indeed an expository one, but hopefully we'll bring that interview to you subsequently in other editions of the morning ride. While we're offset, I told Pep I was going to do this. So breastfeeding, of course, is very, very important. It helps in bonding, the colostrum and all of that. So they also preach exclusive breastfeeding
Yeah,
for 6
6
months.
months,
And
yes.
Pet was saying she does not think she will do 6 months.
In
Do you
as-
want to be a responsible mother or not?
In as much as I think that will be the decision of I and my future better half. So when the time comes, I think we'll cross that river. Yeah.
All right, so your last words.
My last words is the weekend. Thank God today is Friday. In as much as we've worked, take time out for yourself, because it is when you are perfect in good condition that you can function optimally. So take time out for yourself, okay?
All right, that's it on today's edition of The Morning Ride. On behalf of the production crew, it is I, Gaga Ikama, thanking you so much for your time, and also, and please join us next week through Monday through Fridays at 7 a.m. for fresh editions of The Morning Ride. To enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye for now.
It is a man or a woman's cultural heritage that defines him, that tells us something about his or her past, that reveals his understanding and his attitude towards life in the present. See, culture is also something shared. Through culture, we collectively acknowledge our beginnings and also celebrate everything that we have in common. In fact, culture is more readily seen in the way we behave in the home, how we conduct our day-to-day lives amongst those who know us or may not know us. So, in order to understand what life is in Delta State, we are going to look at culture from the inside out. We're going to visit some homes, spend some time with a few families, eat a little food, drink a little, get to know what Delta culture means up close and personal. This is a Delta home. As a matter of fact, an Orobo family. In a lot of ways, their way of life is identical, culturally identical to any Delta State family. It has been said over and over that Delta State people are the most hospitable people in the world. As you're about to find out, this statement holds true. We Deltans really, really know how to host a visitor. Now, what has been placed on the table is kola, something common but very special indeed. It is regarded as the most sacred and precious of foods. The kola is presented first by the host, and then in most cases the visitor reciprocates the kind gesture. But whatever way it is, the fact remains that Delta hospitality begins here. Now, in some places, before prayer is said, the collar is first wedged or supported with money. Technically, they say it keeps the collar from rolling around on the plate. But culturally, it is a very special expression by the host to the visitor that he, the visitor, is accepted and welcomed wholeheartedly. Well, it's authentic. All the monies that have been placed on the table is now mine to keep, while the initial 50 naira that was put on the plate is now for the elder who breaks the collar to keep as well. I'm waiting for my own collar that will be coming to me with prayers and of course the little gin to awaken all the enzymes in the mouth. He has offered the collar to me with prayers. I can now eat. Surprisingly, the tradition is the same, whether it is in the humble home of a fisherman or an audience with a king in his palace. It is in this atmosphere of tradition, this formal and informal display of love and sharing, that the Delta State child is raised. But in finally describing the Delta State family, where does one begin? At marriage? Coming of age? Now, I feel we should rather begin at birth. Here in the charming Egbo quarters of Ozoro, in Isoko North of Delta State, it is an important day in the life of Dafe Idumago and his wife Cecilia. Following 18 months of marriage, Cecilia recently gave birth to their first child. According to tradition in most of Delta State, the child should be given a name on the 8th day. And it is Dafe's father who has the privilege of naming his granddaughter. Also around to celebrate and to show the new mother the way that newborns are cared for in the Dumago family and in most part of Delta State is Cecilia's mother-in-law. The dance and the drumming reflects the joy and the fulfillment on the part of the extended family and the community. With her first step in life now taken, Ogene Fejiro Okobo looks forward to a life of fulfillment and happiness. In this way, a child in Delta State enters a world surrounded by family and friends. Her life is engulfed in tradition and custom. It is a happy life as the child learns to relate with his or her parents and elders around with respect as well as with love. Among the first lessons a child learns is how to greet his or her parents and all elders.
Assumed the younger one has to greet the elder one first. But it's not that is that mandatory, because the elder can also call the younger ones for a greeting. Like you could say during the junior one, you see an elder person, the child to the mother, I say Migwo to the, that means I'm on my knee. The parent will say Vredo, I'm a get up. That is a greeting. But if the child maybe peradventure is not, he did not really notice the elder can ask the child, oh Magare, trying to draw his attention back that you've not greeted. And the child say, hey, Migo, and now goes down to greet. That shows that greeting, the respect is reciprocal. If the child is not doing it, the parents have to draw the child's attention back to it.
The rewards for good behavior are many. A Delta child is usually anxious to learn his father's trade. And like children everywhere, to go to school. And of course, there is time for play. And then, if the child is really lucky, he or she will hear folk tales told in the classical African style. Tales told by a storyteller who entertains while passing on traditions of morality.
When you listen to or read the folk tales of the Delta state, you will find that the themes, that you find common themes running across them. It's suggestive of some shared experience in the past. They contain a lot of rich inventory of behavior, of heroic deeds, of tragedies, of encounters, and of personages whose memories cannot be extinguished.
In addition to schooling, the child may even find himself engaged in his father's trade, or even go through a period of formal apprenticeship with a neighbor in another kind of trade that may catch his father's fancy. This way, the boy is doubly prepared to fend for himself when he reaches adulthood. And as surely as night follows the day, adulthood does come. And then the day when the child himself declares himself a child no longer. In most cultures of the world, there is nothing more special or precious than a bride. I mean, even the staunchest feminist has been known to shed a tear or two of sentiment when the father of the bride, having received the bride price from the groom, prays publicly for the daughter and hands the daughter over to the groom in what signifies a brand new life for the couple. don't have a wife at home, no reasonable office can be held by that individual. It means you cannot even govern a wife. How then would you want to take a position of responsibility where you be accountable to some other people?
In a traditional setup where a lot of rituals or ceremonies are performed, it is believed that the girl kneels before her family, either where they have a family shrine, a family ancestors. A prayer is offered for her that she's not leaving the family. She's like an ambassador to her family, to another family. They pray for her that it should be guided there. When she gets to her husband's place, she also kneels before the ancestral object there, saying that this is a new additional member to her family, so you should also protect her. So she has a dual protection from her father's side and also from her husband.
Tell you, you have not eaten anything yet until you have eaten food cooked the Delta style. When you wrap your entire being around the Delta version of pounded yam and melon soup, or you participate in a feast like I'm doing right now of starch and banga soup, a Delta delicacy that has continuously astounded culinary experts all over the world. Or is it kekefia? I tell you, I witnessed one of the most indescribable things in an Ijo family recently. Each of these persons, men and women alike, is a chief. While there are different levels and types of chieftaincies, the holder of any title has been acknowledged as a consistent and mature contributor to society. A person whose opinion is valued and sits on a traditional council. In addition to respect and recognition and being allowed to wear special caps and beads, titles have other advantages. You get to sit with the elders, chew kola nut, and sip a drink from the common cup. You are allowed to enter hallowed and sacred rooms where you can speak and be listened to. In Ogwashuku, the traditional meeting hall is called an Ogwa. It is an institution so important that the town was named after it. Every meeting is announced by a town crier. And begins in the traditional way. Here, democracy prevails. While a respected elder presides, he really represents the wisdom and the propriety of the group and assures that each person seated has his say. He also settles disputes and assures peace. Throughout Africa, and certainly in Delta State, the most important mark of a civilization or a culture is often considered to be how a society treats and regards its aged. Here in Delta State, I'm told the reason why we love to have a lot of children is to assure ourselves that we will be well taken care of in our old age. In fact, I've heard some people call it the African social security. I mean, the way we sometimes find brothers and sisters actually fighting over who will take care of the old and the infirm and the family, it makes you wonder. But speaking as a Deltan, I think I can honestly say that our old people are indeed honored and respected and considered to be as valuable as our children.
Taking care of the old person is automatic because it's built in. Everybody pray to live long. We live in a family of many families close together. If you study African architecture, you know. So the family unit, the environment, the cluster of houses is never empty because the old people can't go to farm anymore. They can't go to market anymore. So they sit down. Then those younger ones that can still go, bring their children from even some few months